Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the January 2024 meeting of the Philadelphia Land Bank Board of Directors. My name is Andrew Goodman. I am acting chair of the Philadelphia Land Bank Board. Happy New Year, happy snow. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. And I apologize ahead of time if I sound a little froggier, more froggy than normal, coming out of being under the weather for a few days. So thank you for your patience. With that, I will turn it over to our attorney for a brief note about conducting virtual meetings.
Good morning, everyone. Today's meeting, is being held by an authorized communication device and is being recorded. Questions and comments may be made using the Q&A function or using the raise hand function. If you are calling in and not using the Zoom webinar link, you can ask questions or make comments by pressing *9 on your phone or using the raised hand function. Please do not use the chat function. If any member of the public has an issue submitting questions or comments, please send an email to andrea.saw@phdc.phila.gov. Please note that all questions and comments received by email prior to this meeting or through the Q&A function during the meeting will be included in the minutes. All questions and comments received by 4 p.m. yesterday were shared with the board. Also, I received 2 emails this morning, which were also just shared with the board. Prior to today's public session, the board held an executive session during which the agenda was reviewed, and also Mr. Lawrence's departure was announced, and appreciation was expressed for his service. And that's it.
Thank you, Andrea. And with that, let's do roll call.
Rick Sauer.
I'm here.
Mo Rushdie.
Here.
Majida Rashid.
Here.
Michael Coombs. Michael Johns.
Here.
Maria Gonzalez.
Here.
Andrew Goodman.
Here.
Alexander Balloon. Rebecca Lopez Chris.
I'm here.
All right, we have a quorum and can proceed.
Great. Thank you so much. Before we proceed to the next item of the agenda, I wanted to take a moment to announce some new ground rules for public comment that we'll be implementing this month. New year, new ideas on how to make sure we are maximizing the opportunity for as many people as possible to give public comment at these meetings. So for agenda items where public comment is taken, individuals will now have the following ground rules for giving public comment. First, we will allow individuals to give up to 2 minutes of public comment per person per agenda item. We will set a rule of no personal attacks or hate speech on any individuals. This includes applicants, staff members, board members, or other members of the public. Comments must be relevant to the specific agenda item in question, and I'll ask staff to help with timing and muting people's microphones as needed. These are in line with best practices from comparable boards and commissions in the city of Philadelphia, and I trust that they'll help maintain robust public comment as we've had for many years now. So wanted to announce that everybody at the very beginning, and we'll proceed now to the next agenda item, which is review of the minutes from the last board meeting. Hopefully members of the board have had ample time to review the minutes from the December 2023 board. Are there any questions or comments on last month's board minutes? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to approve the meeting minutes from the December 2023 meeting of the Land Bank Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. We'll now proceed to a report from our executive director.
Good morning, board and public. Thank you for, Happy New Year. Today I'd like to report on several things. I want to just let everybody know we did have a ribbon cutting last year. It was our last ribbon cutting. I think we had 4 last year. Over on William Street, it went very well. I suggest and encourage people to really take a look at our Turn the Key website. We'll put the link in the chat for everybody. But it was, a great product. I think everybody should look at and see what we're producing for the general public as affordable housing. We do have a groundbreaking that's coming up in Dover Myrtlewood in South Philadelphia. This is in the 2nd Councilmanic District. That will be in the late February. What's significant about this is a partnership between BNK and Dawood Bey, who is an MDP, a Minority Developer Program, our first cohort graduate. So we're really looking forward to that. It's showing results from our initiatives to really support Black and brown developers and pair them with responsible prime contractors to get housing done. Next, we'll be having a ribbon cutting for Sharswood Bloomberg in late February as well. This is a partnership between PHA and also with land management to actually expand what we're offering in Turn the Key. So that was, we're looking forward to that. Those will be 77 new affordable homes that are coming online for in the Sharswood Bloomberg area. And then just to notify the board and the public, pursuant to resolution 2023-32, 2 projects, the sales prices we approved administratively the increase of sales prices. One is for Pastor Allen in the 4th district, increasing the sales price from $195,000 and $200,000 respectively to $230,000 and $250,000. All of this is they still will be affordable at 80% of AMI. These are due to rising construction costs and financing issues in the construction finance market. Next is Dover Myrtlewood in the 2nd district, which we are increasing from $230,000 to $250,000 at 80% of AMI, again, for construction costs and financing. And then finally, what I'd like to acknowledge is Jesse Lawrence. He has been serving as our real estate director for the past 3 years. He will be departing. This will be his last board meeting and actually last day here at the land bank. I got him to stay at least for one more board meeting. He will be moving on to work for our new mayor, Mayor Parker, and work as assistant deputy mayor for planning and special projects. I can't say enough about the impact and Jesse's had on myself and the organization and the staff, and we do wish him well. And I got to say, it was a great hire. It's a big loss for us, but a great gain for the city. And I wish you well.
Thank you, Angel. Appreciate it.
And
Hear, hear. Congratulations, Jesse. Tough shoes to fill for sure. Yeah, well, I was even surprised to see you this morning. So yeah, thank you for your work on behalf of the entire board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Angel. Any questions on the executive director's report? Okay, seeing none, move into the agenda item number 4, property dispositions. We have 3 different property disposition agenda items before the board this morning. First one is around a mixed income housing development proposal in the 44th and Ludlow area in the 3rd Council District. For that one, I will be recusing myself as part of my kind of day-to-day role as providing technical assistance in the 3rd Council District. I'll turn chair duties over to Maria Gonzalez, and I will turn off my audio and video. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. In accordance with the bylaws of the Philadelphia Land Bank, I, as secretary, will be acting as chair on this particular agenda item. As Mr. Goodman said, he is recusing himself. So with that, I give the floor to staff to make the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair. First item on the list, item A, in this section, today we're asking the board to authorize the disposition of lots in University Cities to Northern Libs Partners, specifically for the development of 19 mixed-income homeownership units. This particular proposal includes 5 single-family units and 14 condominium units in duplex structures. The properties are in the 3rd district, and they are listed as follows: 4422, 4426 to 30 Ludlow Street, and also 18 to 20, 24 to 28, 30, 34 to 36 South 44th Street, generally located at 44th and Ludlow. The scope specifically includes 4 affordable condo units that will target households at 60% of AMI. That maximum sales price for those units will be $199,990. There will be 1 affordable unit targeting households with incomes at 80% of AMI, and that unit max sale would be, the maximum sales price for that unit will be $250,000. And then there will be 6 affordable units that will be sold to those at 100% of AMI, with a maximum sales price of $280,000. And then there will be an affordable mix of affordable and market rate condos that will be 3 stories, no basement, containing 1,500 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. There will also be all single family market rate units that will include be 2,000 square feet with no basements, 3 stories, and those units will include 4 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms. The affordable units in this particular case will be eligible for neighborhood preservation, the NPI program's turnkey program. The subsidy will, though, be on a sliding scale. The proposal for this particular project was unsolicited and evaluated pursuant to the disposition policy. The developer plans to purchase the property for $12,000. Evidence of project financing has been provided. The applicant is in compliance and in good standing with the City of Philadelphia. The project will be subject to economic opportunity plans or a economic opportunity plan. The project will be subject to an irrevocable power of attorney and right of re-entry reverter as well. The sale of those affordable units will be subject to use restrictions and income verification requirements, as a declaration of restrictive covenants will be placed on them to ensure that the units remain affordable for at least 15 years. That is it.
Thank you, Jesse. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Okay, seeing none. Andrea, we have any comments from the public?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received 2 letters supporting the disposition and 2 letters opposing the disposition. The first was a letter from Councilwoman Gautier supporting the disposition. She was writing to express her support for the mixed income home ownership proposal at 44th and Ludlow Streets that is being reviewed by the Land Bank Board of Directors. These parcels present a unique opportunity to provide family-changing homeownership within walking distance of some of the region's largest job centers at the university's eds and meds. This location also provides walkable access to transit, quality schools, and comprehensive goods and services. Though the proposal is not fully affordable, it provides a depth of affordability that we do not otherwise see on the private market. Thanks to Turn the Keys soft second mortgages, this proposal can generate a majority of its homes sold at purchase prices near or sometimes below $200,000, and these are unparalleled accessible housing and wealth generation opportunities in this amenity-rich section of my district, and it's for this reason that I support this proposal. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Jamie Gautier. The second supporting letter was from the West Philadelphia Economic Development Council, an RCO, addressed to the chair. The West Philadelphia Economic Development Council, RCO, participated in a virtual community meeting. We have expressed concerns about African-American contracting opportunities. The company has verbally committed to seeing African-American contractors participate in the project. We offer no opposition to the project. And Councilwoman Gautier and all other RCOs were copied on this. This came from Kyle J. Sampson, President. Third, we have a letter of opposition from West Philly United Neighbors, another RCO. addressed to the land bank, and I will read it briefly. I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing on behalf of West Philly United Neighbors and RCO, deeply concerned about the proposed conveyance of the properties at 44th Street and Ludlow Street to the developer Northern Libs Partners. Our opposition is rooted in the following critical reasons. There's a lack of community input. The community was inadequately informed about the proposed development. The initial notification of the Zoom meeting was sent via email by the developer during the holiday season, and many key stakeholders were excluded from the communication. Moreover, the timing of the reminder email sent just a few hours before the meeting hindered community participation. Only about 5 to 6 community members made the community meeting. Given the significant impact of the proposed development, a more inclusive and well-publicized community meeting is essential. Secondly, the community needs green space. The community values green space and community gardens, which are becoming scarce. Let's see, in recent years, within a couple of blocks, many buildings, including a total of about 2,000 units of apartments, have been constructed and more have been proposed. We've already lost our community garden at 43rd and Ludlow, 12 South 43rd Street to a developer. That piece of land was once sold by the city for only $3,000 to the first buyer after changing hands twice, eventually sold to a developer from New York City for nearly $1 million and became an 18-unit apartment building. Preserving green spaces is crucial for the well-being of our neighborhood. We propose that the land in question be conveyed to the community for the establishment of community gardens and community-controlled development. Third, there is inadequate affordable housing in this proposal. The proposed percentage is woefully inadequate. Out of the 20 residential homes planned, only 4 are designated to be sold under 60% of AMI. We strongly advocate for 100% of the units to be affordable. And fourth, we are deeply concerned about developer accountability. The proposed conveyance involves valuable CMX4 zoned parcels estimated at multi-millions of dollars. We expressed concerns about the developer's track record of developing affordable housing and their ability to adhere to proposed plans. When this developer was constructing other buildings in the neighborhood, they very often blocked the one-lane Ludlow Street without permission from the city, enclosed city-owned land with a fence, and parked illegally. Community doubts how the land bank will ensure compliance with the proposed 20-unit construction limit. Because these are CMX4 zoned parcels, the developer could develop hundreds of units once they acquire the land. Without a robust mechanism for accountability, we argue against conveying these lands to a developer whose primary motivation may be profit. In conclusion, we urge the board of directors to vote against the conveyance of these properties to Northern Libs Partners. Our community's well-being and the preservation of valuable assets controlled by the city should take precedence over the interests of a developer. And this was sent by Ang Sun, President, West Philly United Neighbors. Lastly, I just received this morning a lengthy letter from Mr. Jihad Ali, excuse me, writing about this particular proposal. He says that he endorses the concept of developing family home ownership in this area, but the critical issue revolves around whether the current unsolicited developer is the most suitable choice for this project and whether the proposed development fully leverages the zoning density allowed for this specific location. He's asking the Land Bank Board not to vote on this today and is asking for a continuance. Excuse me. First, there's been he has observed a severe lack of public notice and insufficient time for the community to meet and discuss the proposed development. The notice provided for this hearing after the public meeting on Thursday, January 11th at 7 p.m. only left the community and attended 8 business hours before the weekend, Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. So it did not allow for meaningful participation by the attendees of the public meeting to discuss with participating RCOs, which is essential in making informed decisions about the developments in our area. The location of the proposed development is in a sought-after development area with over 500 units within 2 blocks. And it raises significant concerns. Many questions about parking design and the impact on alleyways still need to be answered. The developer's failure to disclose their pending development of an 11-story, 100-unit apartment building at 4400 Market Street is a significant concern. Also, he discovered that 3 parcels of the proposed development site had been pledged as security for the developer's previous loan with Republic Bank in 2021. In the board package, the developer indicated the intent to pledge these same properties as a contribution to another bank. This raises questions about their financial stability and the potential risks associated with the project. Lastly, he's concerned that developer is underutilizing the CMX zoning for the site, not fully maximizing homeownership, and may consider combining the 44th Street lots north of Ludlow Street with the 4400 Market Street lots for additional market rate homes. This could exploit taxpayers' interests in favor of the developer's profit. And so because of all these concerns, he's asking the board to table the item, schedule another public meeting, and he appreciates the board's attention to this matter and looks forward to a fair and transparent process that considers the welfare of the neighborhood. And that was it.
Thank you, Andrea. Do we have any members of the public that wish to make a statement?
Maria, I had a question for the developer.
Is the developer on the line or on
Yes,
the call?
Jeremy Blatstein, he does have his hand raised.
I'd like to hear from the developer to understand when the community meeting occurred and discuss whether or not the emails that we received are accurate.
Okay. Mr. Blatstein,
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Mhm.
can you please state your name for the record and just answer the question?
Yes, Jeremy Blatstein. I'm representing Northern Liberties. I work for the developer. The notification went out on December 28th. That was when we were going through the process of knowing that we were going to be on this month's land bank meeting. So it was emailed to all of the RCOs that were sent to us. So, and along with notices delivered to all of the local community members that were within 250 feet. So that occurred on December 28th. I hand delivered them to local community members. I then sent a follow-up email, the day of the meeting, as a helpful reminder to the RCOs that the meeting was occurring, along with local community members that were within the 250 feet of the project that were in attendance at that evening. And the meeting went well. There was some opposition from the 2 people that were just stated, but overall, there was support for this, and there's a need for obviously affordable housing in this area to be able to provide houses at this affordability level is what we are also doing. And just want to put one point of kind of mention is that we are contributing 2 of our lots that we own to this project to make it so that we can actually produce more affordable units on all these land bank lots.
So what day was the actual meeting?
Oh, the meeting was on January 11th at 7 p.m.
It was on January 11th. And you
Yeah.
noticed on the 28th?
Yeah.
And everyone got a paper notice in their mailbox?
Yes.
How many people attended?
15.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blatstein. Are there any other persons from the public that wish to make a comment?
We have Ang Sun.
Okay, please state your name and proceed with your statement.
Sure. This is Dr. Ang Sun, the president of West Philly United Neighbors. I just want to make comments on this transparency of this community meeting. The developer just said that there were 15 people attending. That was not true. And the developer just said that I and Jihad Ali went to the meeting, opposed that. the truth is I didn't go to the meeting because the initial email was sent during the holiday season on December 28th between the Christmas Day and the New Year's Eve. And it went to my spam folder. And I found this out on January 11th when the developer sent this reminder just 2 hours ahead of the meeting. That reminder just has one sentence reminding people there is a meeting at 7 p.m. and the email was sent at 5 p.m. on the same day. And we didn't have time to notify our neighbors. And I reached out to many members starting Friday. I talked to people on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. None of us heard about this meeting. We didn't know this meeting happened. And I did talk to a few people, including Carl Simpson, who sent the letter. And I want to clarify that Carl didn't say he would support this. And if you read the letter from Carl Simpson, he is not supporting it. It's just not object to this this proposal. And Carl said there were only 5-6 people attend that meeting, and it would be Andrew Goodman was there. It was the developer was there, but developer is not a community member, and Jihad Ali was there. Pam Andrews was there, and Carl Simpson was there, and it also another person, I think is Mr. Gosbeck was there. Okay.
2 minutes is up. So
Thank you, Mr. Sun. Do we have any other members of the public?
We have Jihad Ali.
Please state your name.
My name is Jihad Ali. Jihad Ali. May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning, members of the board, and thank you, Miss Chris, for raising those concerns. I just wanted to really make a quick comment. The process is really flawed when you have an unsolicited developer conduct a community meeting, and he's not versed on the rights of community members to participate. He just told you that he sent out a notice. I was one of the only people that I know that had signed in at the meeting. That wasn't disclosed. There was no sign-in sheet. There was no vote taken when we asked him about a vote, and he said that wasn't required. So how could he say that he had support? I think that's a crucial point. As Mr. Goodman knows, there was Mrs. Livingston was there, and she asked what was the next steps. There was no notice that this hearing was even today. So it's really two issues. One is the issue of the process, and the other was the conduct of the developer. For him not to disclose that he was the owner of the 4300 Market site, and that site is right next to those properties on 44th Street, we just thought it was not being transparent. And we just didn't have enough time. We had the meeting at Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We had the next workday Friday. Then we break for the holidays, and then we have a meeting this morning. Now, that's not enough time for us to reconvene and talk about it. As I mentioned in my email, there's a lot of issues about the parking, about the materiality that came up during the meeting. We talked about the community alleys, how all this stuff was going to be treated. So we just didn't have enough time. That's why, and it wasn't that I was against it, Ms. Sayre. I think I said that I asked for a continuance. So, you know, I think that is the issue. I think we just didn't have enough time as a community. And this is, as I pointed out, this is a crucial neighborhood. This is a highly sought after thing. And it should have been, we should have more time than just being forced on us with no time to discuss it. Thank you.
Can I just clarify on the process? This was instituted as a point by the board to have another step of notification for the community. This is not an RCO meeting. It does not follow RCO and planning department rules. It does not require a vote. I just want everybody to be clear on that. There is no, and I think this is what I tried to make mention to the board before. This is a complaint that we've gotten from the planning department that it is confusing RCOs and that they think they are following the planning process. This is not the planning process. This is merely a point to alert the staff, to the community, so that they can come to the board meeting and voice their concerns, and that it not be the first time they hear about the project. The second thing I would like to say is that we did post the properties, which we are required to do, and that these parcels have been subject to illegal parking. Currently, it's owned by PRA, and there have been cease and desist notices several times. It's a large liability problem for the PRA, which is when we were posting the property, this is how this came about. So just background.
Thank you, Angel. Moving on, do we have anyone else from the public that wishes to make a statement?
Do you have Mo's hand up?
Mo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a question for the developer, Mr. Blatstein. Mr. Blatstein, were you given a notification package and instructions by the land bank on who to go to?
Can get Mr.
Mr.
Blatstein.
Blatstein?
Yes, sorry. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, in the letter land bank, it says to give notice to the residents within 250 feet of the property, along with, if you would like, to notify the list of RCOs. But that is not a requirement per what the community outreach package, per my understanding of the directions. So that was my understanding, that of me sending that email and follow up to the RCOs, almost a step that was not necessarily required per what the instructions I received. It was the main point of order was notifying the residents within 250 feet of the property.
And have you received some acknowledgement for receipt in terms of these notifications when you sent out?
Yes, via Clarence, one of the local neighbors, Clarence Ellis, was on the call, so that was my kind of the ability to know that they were receiving the notices.
And so they have the instructions by the land bank in terms of notifications to the community members per the rules and regs of the land bank. Have these been followed?
Yes.
And Angel, the question is now to the land bank staff: have the instructions that were given to the developer been followed? I guess Jesse or Angel.
Yeah, Jesse.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Blasting, I just have a question. Along with those instructions, do you have a signing sheet also that has been provided to the land bank?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, do we have anyone else from the public that wishes to make a statement?
We have Rick Soward, and then you have so Rick Soward, I believe.
Okay,
today.
Rick?
Yeah, I just have one quick clarification question. I know a couple of the comments related to the zoning for the site and the size of the density of the projects that allowed. So if the proposal to the land bank that we're approving for, or being asked to approve for disposition, is for a certain number of units, even though the zoning would allow for greater density development, is the developer restricted to that type of project per se if we dispose of the property to them, Angel? In other words, they couldn't go in and add a bunch of additional properties beyond what's being approved.
No, you can't. So it's what we would only approve, what this board package and what the board approves. It's also backed up by a purchase development agreement, which we do record against the property, and there's also right of reverter. And also we have certain, other deed restrictions on the property. So it'd be very difficult for them to do that. We would also not issue a consent to sell. We would, during the construction phase, we would be monitoring. If there were any change, we would then have the opportunity to stop the development and issue a cease and desist. But you can't, we wouldn't go to closing until they pulled their permits, and we would have to see conformity with what they proposed. And Andrea wanted me to let you guys know, we always put a declaration of restrictive covenants. So it would be tied to what's in the board resolution.
Does anyone else from the board have any questions or comments?
We have one member of the public, Ms. Bay.
Okay. Please state your name and proceed with your statement.
Yes, my name is Nabila Bey. I am a member of the Mill Creek community. However, I do agree with Mr. Ali's proposal to table this issue and to conduct a more thoroughly announced community participation period. And I just wanted to note in regards to Angel's statement he just made, that the developer clearly said he was going to join some other property to this property to make his project larger or something like that. So I just want the board to keep in mind how saturated that area is, that whole 44th and Chestnut, 42nd and Chestnut. There, it's like unbelievable. You can't drive, you can't park, you can't see the skyline anymore. It's just saturated. And to think that someone else is going to squeeze in some more properties, I don't know how much weight the land of Philadelphia can take in certain areas. There's buildings just piled on top of each other. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Ms. Bay. Moving on, I know that Mr. Blasting, you have your hand raised again? Not, so we can move on to other public comments.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify the statement that I made, if that wasn't clear to the land bank board, of the that there's going to be 2 clusters of the 6 houses of the townhomes duplexes and 8 duplexes. And we own a lot within the monopoly board of the land bank land, which is what we're contributing to the project, to allow us to produce the 14 2 different clusters in different places. So that was my comment of where we are combining our land to make the project more feasible on an affordability perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blasting. Any other public comments?
I think we can call a vote.
No, that's it, okay. Do we have any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, if that is a no, then I will call the question. Is there a motion on this agenda item?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I see 4. Anyone against? Okay, I'm going to have to do a polling. I'm sorry. Okay. Mr. Rushdi?
Aye.
Majida?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Michael Johns?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Okay, and that's it, right?
I
No, thank you. Maria.
you need
Yourself.
to vote as well, I think.
You yourself must vote.
Okay. I am aye.
We have 1, 2, 3.
So that's 6,
5,
which is the majority of the entire board, and that is a valid
Okay,
disposition vote.
okay, motion carries. Okay, thank you, everyone. I give the floor back to Mr. Goodman.
so much, Secretary Gonzalez. Next agenda item is a community benefiting use on item 4B of this agenda. Angel.
Just want to make note that Majida Rashid is going to recuse herself from this item. She has an affiliation with Call to Serve and the coalition that's working on North Broad corridor development on Broad and Erie.
Thank you for identifying that, Angel. All right, will staff read the summary for this agenda item 4B?
Certainly. As background, 3601 Germantown Avenue is formerly a city-owned parking lot, which the city has transferred to the land bank in anticipation of the land bank's lease of the property to the tenant applicant Call to Serve. The land bank would lease the parking lot to Call to Serve for $10 per year. The initial term of the lease would be for 1 year, which would automatically expand to 5 years and provide 5 renewal options of 5 years each for a possible total of 30 years upon approval by City Council resolution of an initial 5-year term and 5-year renewal options for 5 years each. Call to Serve, which wishes to lease the parking lot, which contains 65 parking spaces from the land bank, and then sublet the parking lot to 3701 North Broad. 3701 North Broad owns the Bury Building located at 3701-03 North Broad Street, shown as National Bank of North Philadelphia on the attached site plan, and is redeveloping the building as a hotel with a restaurant, fitness center, meeting spaces. In the board package, we provide a website for the board and the public to review. 3701 North Broad would like to use 45 of the 65 parking spaces for valet parking for its guests. The remaining 20 parking spaces would continue to be used by existing businesses along the commercial corridor as approved by Call to Serve. The sublease will require 3701 North Broad to make improvements to the parking lot, operate and provide security for the parking lot, pay monthly rent to Call to Serve, and provide, and those terms for the monthly rent are in the board package, and provide complimentary hotel rooms and meeting rooms for use by Call to Serve for its neighborhood programming. The terms of the proposed lease and sublease are summarized as Exhibits A and B in the board package. Today, we're requesting that the board approve the lease of the parking lot at 3601 Germantown Avenue to Call to Serve CDC in accordance with the terms proposed in the lease as summarized in Exhibit A, and to approve the sublease of the parking lot to 3701 North Broad LLC in accordance with the terms of the proposed sublease summarized in Exhibit B. So approval of the request will result in guaranteed monthly rent, profit sharing, and in-kind benefits accruing to Call to Serve to support its commercial corridor revitalization and its neighborhood educational programming. It's important to note by the board that as part of this lease agreement, Call to Serve will be required to provide reporting as to how it's using the funds they get from 3701 North Broad, and we do that routinely. So anybody, any issues will be made aware of.
Angel, are there precedents or comparables? This isn't obviously a typical kind of land bank, like infill vacant lot.
Yeah, this is the structure that we utilized. The land bank owns parcels on 15th Street and Poplar behind the Met. This is a structure we utilized where North Broad Renaissance has a multi-year lease with us. They sublease it to the Met for staging. The Met then provides a mix of monetary money to North Broad Renaissance and also in-kind services such as meeting areas and the utilization of the building for their programming purposes. That project has been in place, I want to say, for 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. I'd have to check, but it's working well. I think it's important to note that this is a way for us to leverage vacant city-owned land for corridor CDCs that manage corridors. Clearly, it's important that the city revitalize North Broad Street. This is a way for us to use a different source other than CDBG funds, which are in limited supply, and really kind of, create a steady source of revenue so the city can continue to redevelop and benefit small businesses along North Broad corridor.
And under the lease terms, is it the operator has to repave, renovate the site?
Yes, they're required to. We will be reviewing those plans. They will have to go through, they'll have to resurface, stripe, lighting, new fencing. It will be valet, so new swing arm and security booth and other items like that.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions about this application? Andrea, did we receive any public comment in writing in advance of today's meeting about this agenda item?
We did not.
Okay. And are there any members of the public that wish to give comment on this agenda item?
There are none.
Okay, I see none either. Nope.
Mr. Harley, Jeffrey Harley is on the call, apparently. It's in the Q&A.
He's not on, he hasn't raised his hand. I don't know if he wants to comment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see the note here. Right. Okay. Does the board have any questions for the CDC applicant? Okay, I see none. So with that, can I get a motion?
I make a motion for approval of this disposition.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to approve the disposition at 3601 Germantown Avenue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion passes to approve the lease for 3601 Germantown Avenue. We'll now proceed to agenda item 4C, our final disposition item for this morning, as a side or rear yard. Will the staff provide the summary of this application? Oh, Andrea, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Ms. Rashid, let Ms. Rashid know, board member, that she can rejoin us at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, will staff read the summary for agenda item 4C?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Today we're asking the board to authorize authorize the sale of a lot to an adjacent owner. A rear occupant, owner occupant in North Philadelphia for rear side yard use or rear yard use. The property is located in the 7th District, located at 2428 North Oriana Street. The applicant is Anthony K. Bright, and he's compliant and good standing with the city of Philadelphia. Since this is a side yard transaction, there will be no economic opportunity plan required. However, the property will be subject to a 30-year mortgage, and it will be subject to use restrictions as just a side or rear yard. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on this agenda item? I did have one question. It looks like is the owner of record an entity in this case, as opposed to an individual?
The owner of record is an individual. We did take a look at the fact that his business was named on the deed as well, but we had determined that he would qualify for this particular transaction, given the fact that he's the individual and the owner occupant of that home.
Right, so there is confirmation that this is his primary residence.
We did do that research, yes, sir.
Awesome, thank you. Another atypical example, hence my questions. Okay, thank you. Did we receive any public comment on this agenda item in advance of today's meeting?
We did not.
Okay, are there any members of the public that wish to approach the board to offer comment on this agenda item who are here today this morning? Please raise your virtual hand if so. Okay. I see none. Okay, any final questions from any members of the board on this item?
Is
If not,
is
I'll
this,
oh,
this is a rear yard to the owner's property? Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Sorry, I could
So,
come up.
so directly behind, I guess, because they can, under the disposition policy, they can share a property line. It doesn't necessarily have to be a side yard. Any other questions from the board? Yep, I see one member of the public with their hand raised. Can we unmute Odessa Tate? Please state your name and begin your comments.
My name is Odessa Tate. I actually had a question. My apologies. It was in reference to the 28th Street development. I'm not sure if I missed anything regarding it, but was that tabled for today? What's the situation with it on 28th and Cumberland?
We're not, that's not on the agenda for today, Ms. Tate. What
Okay.
we're discussing right now is a side yard disposition.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to double check.
Okay, are there any other members of the public that wish to comment on the agenda item here before us at the moment, which is a rear yard disposition proposal on the 2400 block of North Oriana Street? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to approve the proposed disposition application for a rear yard at 2428 North Oriana Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries and the disposition is approved. With that, that concludes the property disposition section of the agenda. And we're up to old and new business. Does anybody have any old or new business that they wish to bring before the board this morning? If so, please raise your virtual hand. All right, I see Jihad Ali. Please unmute yourself, state your name, and begin your comments.
Thank you, Jihad Ali, and thank you, Chairman Goodman. I wanted to say to the board in this new year, before I begin, I want to say goodbye, Jesse. It's always been a pleasure working with you. Joyce is going to have a heart attack when she finds out you're leaving from Parkside. But I think that you've always been a gentleman. You've always been patient when dealing with community members. And that's really where I want to go into my point. I think that when I come to this board, sometimes I don't think you intended, but some of your board members, you really disrespectful to, in my opinion, to people like, I can only speak for myself, for me sometimes. And I think that this board, I think majority of you are doing your best to make great decisions with limited information. I think that the process, as I said before, is flawed. The fact that you have a meeting, that you have a developer have a meeting for whatever the guidelines are, and then not have a representative from your organization to monitor that, I think that's flawed. Because in the case where I testified at, the developer made a statement that everybody was in favor of something. That's a serious problem. And I think going forward, we get better at what we practice. That's my saying out in the construction world. So as you go along, we should get better at what you practice. When you are all board members, those of you that come on that board, your responsibility is to us as citizens, not to developers. You know, I know that they might be dear to you, some of your hearts, but your responsibility is to us as citizens. And the least you could do is respect us, because we come with limited resources. We come with just knowledge that we earn from participating, by getting better at what we participate in. We don't come with attorneys, we don't come with consultants, we don't come with none of that. We don't come with any support. And I do want to say, before I go, you've been really great with me. Ms. Saad, your general counsel, thank you for always being available. Thank you for always giving me respect. Thank you for always entertaining our concerns. I just think as we go better, we need to get that process better on any type of public meeting, because you, after all, you are the parent organization. You have to comply with the right to know laws and all the sunshine laws. And if you have a subcommittee under you, you have to have oversight on to make sure that that person is respecting community members according to the laws that you adhere to. And how can they if they don't have any guidance from you? So that's really my comment. Thank you for allowing me to comment. And one other thing in closing. In your last board meeting, the board chair did when you have a conflict of interest. She did a written documentation for the conflict of interest. You had another board member that had a conflict of interest, and they just verbally said what it is. We would just like some consistency on the conflicts of interest, that they be reduced in writing as law requires it, and they be attached to the minutes. Thank you.
May I respond
Thank
to
you, Mr. Ali. Of course.
Yes, so just to clarify regarding the conflict of interest process, when a board member identifies a potential conflict of interest, they are supposed to submit a letter prior to the meeting. If a conflict of interest is identified just prior to the board meeting, or they don't have time, they didn't realize that, then they have to announce it at the board meeting and must submit a letter later, right after the board meeting. So Ms. Rashid will be submitting that letter, and it will be included in the minutes along with Mr. Goodman's recusal letter. We're always trying to do better, but sometimes it happens.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrea. And thank you, Mr. Ali. Your full points are well taken. Next up, I see Luann Gathers. Please state your name and begin your comments.
Yes, good morning. My name is Luann Gellers. I am a owner of a property in the Strawberry Mansion section of Philadelphia. I'm just wondering if someone could direct me to first contact information directly for your department. I think the phone number that I've tried to call several times that's listed on the website does not take you to any type of person or voicemail. And also, is there a place to find out? I've owned my property for 12 years now, and inquired about the property next door. There's been some issues with it. What is the, I guess, the course of action for properties to be released by the city for competitive bids, so that someone could possibly buy it and take care of it? At this point, the property is not doing well. And I've had several concerns and sent them in the way of L&I with no, action. So just wondering what that process is like, and then if there's someone that I can contact directly. Thank you.
So Ms. Gathers, I have put my email in the chat. You can email me directly. Can I ask, the property adjacent to your home, is it vacant land or a structure?
It's a structure that is owned by the land bank.
Okay, if you can reach out to me directly, I can have a maintenance team go out and stabilize the property, and we can have a conversation about what impact that property is having on your home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And yes, Angel's email address is in the chat box. Next up, I see Lawrence Macy. Please state your name and proceed with your comments.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good morning. My name is Lawrence Macy. My company is Macy's Enterprises, LLC. And this is a tad of old and new business. I just want to touch on a little old business to refresh your memories of who I am. My development company has a few unsolicited applications in, and because of my unique business model, pardon me, of sowing half of our net profits back into the communities where we develop, it caused me to reach out with a pilot program, which brings me to the new business. I reached out to Washington to Secretary Fudge, and she put me in contact with Director Ford, who after conversating with him, then directed me to Director Melissa Long here. And that brings me kind of to my question. I'm trying to reach out and find out the best contact information for her, because me and my company and my network are implementing a pilot program here starting in Philadelphia. And we're gonna work our way hopefully up the East Coast and preferably across the country. But to make a long story short, My question is about RFPs. Because of my pilot program, we'll be putting in for requests that you guys request, and half of those profits will be sold into community directly through the different entities, directly back into the city. We already have developments that we're going to begin, that though half of those net profits will be sold directly into the community, be it a rec centers, schools, CDCs, places of worship, etc. But we also realize there's the need for the infrastructure to sold directly into the people via the city. So I need the best contact information for Ms. Long and anyone else that I need to contact to help me secure a few more details and express some details, obviously, that it's not enough time to express here.
I put Melissa Long's email in the chat. So that'd be the best way to contact her and describe your pilot program.
And I've reached out to that. I realize she's very busy. Is there a number, or is that the best, absolute best way by email?
I would say that's the best way to reach out to her.
Great. I'll reach back out to her that way. One more thing, and I'm gonna get out of your hair here. With those said RFPs, because of my business plan and the model here, it would be difficult. Well, I won't say difficult. It would be impossible for me to put a deposit down, because the deposit is supposed to be 10% of what your bid is, and my bid for these particular RFPs would be 50% of the net profits forever. So I know that can't be addressed necessarily right here on the spot, but that's the dilemma that I'm with, that our particular model is not being greedy and giving half back, and that presents the dilemma of a couple of little hiccups and hangups, but just for contact purposes and getting some details together. So I'll also put my email in the chat, and anybody under the sound of my voice, any of you guys that go off any other assistance or advice, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll just note on the PHDC website, there is the RFP kind of bar drop down to look at current or previous RFPs. And then under the land tab, there is also the policy document that has information on the non-competitive route. So, applying unsolicited for community-minded uses outside of the RFP process. So just note both of those. Any other, I see no other hands raised. Up, one more. Ronald Jackson. Please state your name and proceed with your comments.
Yes, good morning. I'm the owner of a local development company called Emerge Equity Partners. I just was intrigued by the last gentleman that was talking about his programming and development. And this may not be the platform for making a connection, but I'm very interested in learning a little bit more about what he's actually doing, because we're doing some similar efforts.
So, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Macy put his email in the Q&A. So you can see that there. I'll copy it and put it in the chat for your reference, and you can respond to him directly.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing that, Angel. Any other members of the members of the public that wish to approach the board with old or new business this morning? All right. Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to adjourn the January 2024 Land Bank Board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next month.